Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagvatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are so blessed that Lord Krishna has given us one more chance to read Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees like all of you. So we are reading Canto 7, Chapter 1, The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. In the first two verses, we were discussing the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, who has a very genuine question, because it seems that Lord Krishna is always taking sides of Indra and killing the demons. So he's asking, is God partial or is God impartial? So very genuine questions for our purification. So let's see what is his third question. Text number 3. Iti na sumaha bhaga narayana gunan prati samshayaha sumahan jatas tadbhavam chetum arhati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O greatly fortunate and learned Brahmana, whether Narayana is partial or impartial has become a subject of great doubt. Kindly dispel my doubt with positive evidence that Narayana is always neutral and equal to everyone. Purport. Since Lord Narayana is absolute, his transcendental qualities are described as one. Thus, his punishments and his offerings of favor are both on the same value. Essentially, his inimical actions are not displays of enmity toward his so-called enemies. But in the material field, one thinks that Krishna is favorable to devotees and unfavorable to non-devotees. When Krishna finally instructs in Bhagawat Gita, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, this is meant not only for Arjuna, but for every living entity within this universe. So, this is the third verse in the question series of Parikshit Maharaj. So he is again reiterating that it is a great doubt, samshaya. And when there is a great doubt, one should approach a great spiritual master. And that's what Parikshit Maharaj has already done. Already about 2.5-3 days of Bhagavad Katha is going on. So he is approaching Sukadeva Goswami. Kindly dispel my doubt. And Srila Prabhupada is briefly answering that question, that Krishna, all his actions towards his so-called friends or so-called enemies are his offerings of favor. To an untrained person, it will seem that yes, he is partial to someone and yes, he is killing someone. But one who understands the tattva will understand that both are actually benedictions. We discussed that yesterday also, that envy and friendship exist in the material aspect. But Krishna is absolute, he is above all those things. So whatever he does is actually for the benefit of the individual. So he is, in short, not partial, but to an external, like who has not learned the science of Krishna consciousness, it will certainly appear so. Well, Parikshit Maharaj was not a non-devotee, but he's asking, or he's acting like as if he doesn't know for the entire world. So the essence is that Prabhupada is concluding that the instruction that take my shelter, Mamikam Sharanam Vraja, Lord Krishna is saying, it is not for Arjuna. Arjuna was already a surrendered soul. He's a Nitya Siddha, eternal Sakha of Krishna. But all these instructions are for the entire universe. But the whole reason these calamities like Corona, etc. happen because we ignore the manual of life, that is Bhagavad Gita, that is Srimad Bhagvatam. When we do what our mind and senses or whims and fantasies want, then we have to pay the price. And this national emergency and epidemic is just a reflection of that price. Okay, any other comments anyone has before we move on? Okay, let's read the next two verses. Someone who didn't get a chance to read yesterday would like to read, please. Raghu Prabhu, you want to read?
Did you call my name?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Hare Krishna, devotees. Text 4-5. Shri Rishi Uvacha Sadhu Prastham Maharaja Haresh Charitam Adbhutam Yad Bhagavat Bhagavata Mahatmayam Bhagavat Bhakti Vardhanam Gate Parmam Punyam Rishbir Naratibhi Natva Krishnaya Mune Katyese Hare Katam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, you have put before me an excellent question. Discourses concerning the activities of the Lord, in which the glories of his devotees are also found, are extremely pleasing to devotees. Such wonderful topics always counteract the miseries of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, great sages like Narada always speak upon Srimad Bhagavatam because it gives one the facility to hear and chant about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva and then begin describing topics concerning the activities of Lord Hari." Purport. In this verse, Sukadeva Goswami offers his respectful obeisances Krishnaya Munaye, which means to Krishna, Dvaipayana, Vayasa. One must first offer one's respectful obeisances to one's spiritual master. Sukadeva Goswami's spiritual master is his father, Vyasadeva, and therefore he first offers respectful obeisances to Krishna, Dvaipayana, Vyasa, and then begins describing topics of Lord Hari. Whenever there's an opportunity to hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord, we must take it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Kirtanya Sada Hari. One should always engage in Krishna Katha by chanting and talking about Krishna and hearing about him. That's the only occupation of a Krishna conscious person. So Sukadeva Goswami is very pleased with Maharaj Parikshit that he has been asking these questions. He says that discourses on activities about Krishna are pleasing to all the devotees, and such questions are very helpful to all the people so they can counteract their materialistic ways of life. So before actually starting with before explaining the topics on the questions, Sukadeva Goswami offers his respects to his guru and praise to his guru before starting on the transcendental activities of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This kind of glorification of the questions asked by Parikshit Maharaj has come multiple times. So sadhu prishtam, sadhu means excellent, very good. This is a very good question. Why? Because this is about Bhagavat Mahatmaya. And what happens? Bhagavat Bhakti Vardhanam. The devotion to Lord Krishna increases by asking such questions and answering such questions and such discussions. In Canto 1 or Chapter 2 of Srimad Bhagvatam also very similar verse comes. Munaya sadhu prishtoham bhavadbhir lokamangalam. O great sage, this is sadhu prishtam, very excellent question. Why? Bhavadbhir lokamangalam. It is for the benefit of everyone. Yat krita Krishna samprashno. The questions which are pertinent to Krishna, yena atma suprasidati. They are very, very satisfying to the soul. Because Krishna Katha can counteract the miseries of materialistic way of life. And we can certainly relate that people are, even non-devotees now are becoming little introspective and they're praying in their own way, in their own form. Something is better than nothing, but people are becoming introspective and trying to take shelter of something higher. So therefore such questions are very good. And before he begins to answer those questions, he is offering his pranam to the Guru Varga. And that is a great lesson. Before executing any service, we must offer the prayers to the spiritual master and the entire Guru Parampara. Whether it is chanting, whether it is cooking for Krishna, whether it is singing Kirtan or reading Bhagavatam or deity worship, anything. And therefore we have the Mangalacharan prayers which we do pretty much before any important service. So it's a great practice which is Srila Sukadeva Goswami is showing by his example. So Krishna Katha is the remedy for everything. That is the solution, one solution for everything. Any other comments anyone has?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Raghunandan Das. Two comments. One is, very rarely we find in an assembly of devotees when somebody is asking a question, the questioner is praised and the questions are praised. It shows a higher culture of Vaishnava etiquette, because normally the tendency would be to focus on the answers that are being given and then glorify the speaker for giving the answers, which is right thing to do. But at the same time here, Sukadeva Goswami is setting a very high standard and saying even the questioner and the questions that is being asked are being glorified by the speaker himself. So I have always found that it is a very nice practice even to appreciate thoughtful questions that are being asked by devotees when the devotees come together and read and discuss. So I find that always an inspiring point. And the second point is Bhagavatam is about Bhagavan and the Bhagavatas. And so that's why Prabhupada puts it, in which the glories of his devotees are also found, along with the activities of the Lord. So both of them are being glorified, and Srimad Bhagavatam is a classic example of the Supreme Lord being glorified, and his wonderful devotees are also glorified. We find more and more pastimes where pages and pages of descriptions about the glories of the devotees are given. The Supreme Lord is so happy to put the spotlight on his pure devotees. So I find those 2 points to be very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Very nice reflections. Okay, let's read the next verse. Would someone like to read who didn't read yesterday?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Actually, before that, I had a question, but I will just ask after reading this. Text number 6. Nirgunopi yojo vyakto bhagavan prakrute parah swamaya guna mavishya badhya badhakatam gata. Translation and purport is Divine Grace and Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of a Godhead, Vishnu, is always transcendental to material qualities, and therefore he is called Nirguna, or without qualities. Because he is unborn, he does not have a material body to be subjected to attachment and hatred. Although the Lord is always above material existence, through his spiritual potency, he appeared and acted like an ordinary human being, accepting duties and obligations apparently like a conditioned soul. Purport. So-called attachment, detachment, and obligations pertain to the material nature, which is an emanation from Supreme Personality of a Godhead. But whenever the Lord descends and acts in his material world, he does so in his spiritual position. Although his activities materially appear different spiritually, they are absolute and non-different. Thus, it is an imposition upon the Supreme Lord to say that he is envious of everyone or friendly to anyone. In Bhagavad Gita 9.11, the Lord clearly says that Ava jananti mam mudha manushyam tanum ahar asritam. Fools deride me when I descend in human form. Krishna appears on the earth or within this universe without any change in his spiritual body or spiritual qualities. Indeed, he is never influenced by the material qualities. He is always free from such qualities, but he appears to act under material influence. This understanding is a aropita, or an imposition. Therefore, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. Whatever he does, being always transcendental, has nothing to do with material qualities. Evam yo veti tatvatah. Only devotees can understand the truth of how he acts. The fact is that Krishna is never partial to anyone. He is always equal to everyone, but because of the imperfect vision influenced by the material qualities, one imposes material qualities upon Krishna, and when one does so, he becomes a mudha, a fool. When one can properly understand the truth, one becomes devoted and nirguna, free from material qualities. Simply by understanding the activities of Krishna, one can become transcendental, and as soon as one is a transcendental, he is fit to be transferred to the transcendental world. Tvektva deham punarjanma niti imam eti so Arjuna. One who understands the activities of the Lord in truth is transferred to the spiritual world after he gives up his material body. So the Prabhupada ji explains here the quite difference between the Supreme Personality of the Godhead and the normal human being. We all know that there are three modes of material nature, and Krishna is above and beyond the modes of that material nature. That is why he's been called as Nirguna. But even though he comes and acted like an ordinary human being, and but still he is not like a conditioned soul, and he is a transcendental and absolute. Attachment and hatred, that is belongs to the conditioned soul, But because of our imperfect vision, Prabhupada is saying, and the influence by the material qualities, we are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. And Prabhupada clearly says that the fool, one who imposed the material qualities on Krishna, they are certainly called as a mudha here. So that is what is my understanding, Prabhuji. However, I had a question. The question is, I may have a conviction to know about the Krishna, know about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I always have a doubts. So how do one can walk in between doubt and conviction? Because our mind is always like, oh, is it really true? Oh, is it really that? Oh, is it really this? So the doubt comes always there. But at the same time, we also wanted to know the reality, the fact. So how do one can basically approach and walk in that between line, doubt and conviction? Thank you very much, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just trying to understand your question better. So the doubt is in what? In the scripture, in devotees, in Krishna? What kind of doubt?
The doubt is like for example here the Parikshit Maharaj is asking a question to Sukadeva Goswami, and Parikshit Maharaj is also have a doubt that whether the Supreme Personality is impartial or not. And now because that is our shortcoming, the influence of the material nature, is that the problem? Or basically, yes, I wanted to know that, but then someone may not see that, oh, this guy is always have a doubt. Maybe he don't understand. And maybe is a duality, always comes into the mind. And how do we basically approach that other person may not detect me as, oh, you are just like always doubtful, or maybe you really don't understand what the heck is going on, something like that.
Can I make a point, please?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, this is Bhadra. Dandvat everybody. Association. Because the association association with the transcendental personalities or persons who are senior, persons who has realizations, that association helps. When Srila Prabhupada came here, now you remember, Srila Prabhupada coming here to United States at the age of 70, and of course he is dealing with educated people. These many devotees were educated. Everybody was not hippies. Yeah, some were hippies, many educated, and they had the questions, isn't it? But Srila Prabhupada's association, because of his realizations, they accepted it. So the doubts will always arise, but if you are in association with the devotees, by hearing more Srila Prabhupada, by hearing the senior Vaishnavas, then gradually our doubts will go away. And this is, we are dealing in the material world where we are in touch with material nature and people in material we are dealing with the people in the material world with material people. So of course, when we read these scriptures and when we hear about these things, the doubts arises, isn't it? And that is true. But at the same time, when we are in association with the devotees who are senior, who can hear, and we hear more and we chant more, then the Krishna, when we chant qualitatively, then the Krishna within our heart also gives us intelligence to eradicate those doubts within our heart. I'm going on, sorry, but I'm just reading right now Ramayana, Ramayana lecture, because Ram Navami is coming. Take the example of Kaikai. Ram loved her so much, and she loved Ram so much too. But when the mantra came, of course, it was arrangement by the demigods, because demigods was thinking that if Ram will be coronated, then how he's going to kill the Ravan. So Saraswati came on the tongue of the mantra, and mantra played the role of going against Ram. And she had, and Kaikai didn't even think who this mantra was, where was he coming from. And she just accepted her association, and she mantra puts all the doubts in the heart of the Kaikai. Now Kaikai, when Kaikai mantra is telling about Ram and this and Kaushalya, all that, Kaikai is not accepting in the first time, but then she puts in such a way, because it's the arrangement of Saraswati coming tongue of the Kaikai, tongue of the mantra, she became doubtful completely, and what she did. So we are dealing in a material world where this is possibility, but at the same time we are so fortunate by reading this, by having association like this, our doubts gradually goes away. That's my understanding. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other comments anyone has?
Can I add something, Prabhu? This is Raghunandan Das.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Prabhupada also mentions, Bhadra Prabhu was making a very nice point, very important point, that association matters. If we associate with somebody who has certain qualities, we gradually get those qualities, whether it is good qualities or bad qualities. And Prabhupada makes a point about doubt. Doubt, he says, is a sign of intelligence. So we have to express the doubt to a qualified person, a senior devotee, or our spiritual master, and then we have to receive knowledge and guidance that will help remove the doubt. If we see Bhagavad Gita, it is just a question and answer session between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna is asking so many things. How is it possible? How is this possible? But the main point there is the questioning is with the intent of seeking clarification, not with the intent of challenging. So that's why it says it should be in a humble, not challenging mode, in a submissive mode. And then if the intention is to seek clarification, that's good. And then once we receive that knowledge and the guidance, if we still hold on to the doubt, then it becomes detrimental to our advancement in spiritual life. So that's where the association of devotees come to help us. It gives us that spiritual strength, and also it helps a lot in removing those doubts and strengthening our faith and conviction, as Bhadra Prabhu was talking about. So those are some of the thoughts that came to me. Hare Krishna.
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Swati Mataji, you want to read the next verse? Okay. Kirti Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Text 7. Sattvarajastav iti prakrute matmano gunaha na tesham yuga prajnajam hasya ullasa eva va. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear King Parikshit, the material qualities Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna and Tamo Guna all belong to the material world and do not even touch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These three guna cannot act by increasing or decreasing simultaneously. Purport. The original position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of equality. There is no question of his being influenced by Sattva Guna, Rajoguna or Tamoguna. For these material qualities cannot touch the Supreme Lord. The Lord is therefore called Supreme Ishvara, Ishvara Paramah Krishna. He is the Supreme Controller. He controls the material qualities. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya. Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate. Material nature, Prakriti, works under his order. How then can he be under qualities of Prakriti? Krishna is never influenced by the material qualities. Therefore, there is no question of partiality in Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Hare Krishna to everyone. Here, Sukadeva Goswami is giving the quality of Supreme Lord. He is saying that he is not under the three modes of material nature, and they cannot even touch the Supreme Lord, because these three gunas are acting under the direction of Krishna, and this entire Prakriti is acting on the control. It's controlled by Lord Krishna, and that's what Prabhupada is asking, that can he be under the qualities of Prakriti? No, he doesn't influence by that qualities. And as Bhagavad Gita also talking about these three guna, they are acting on us, and because of those three guna we are experiencing the happiness, distress and other calamity on us. So there are a couple of examples Prabhupada has given, that Sattva Guna is the mode of goodness, and that can give us knowledge, intelligence and the happiness, because knowledge comes from the right resources. Rajoguna is giving us lot of anxiety, like you want all those things for your material satisfaction. And Tamoguna is just like, you are just thinking about yourself, not even thinking about Lord or his devotees. So that is like degrading guna. And in order to work in a Sattva Guna, we need the association of spiritual master, your guru, and great literature like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagvatam, which can help us to go on our path. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you, Mataji. So that's the big difference between the conditioned soul and the Supreme Lord. Conditioned soul is working under the different modes, but the Supreme Lord is the master of those modes. In the previous verse also he says, Swa Maya Gunam Avishya. That Swa means his Maya, Shakti. He is the energetic, and Maya, the energy of the Lord. He enters into that and may appear like an ordinary soul to an untrained person whose eyes have imperfect vision. Because the tendency is that we think, oh, he also has two hands, he also has 2 feet, so what is the difference? I can also do what he does or try to imitate. But that's the imperfect vision. The one with the perfect vision, understand that no, he may seem like a ordinary person, but he is the Purna Purushottam Bhagwan. And time and again, he has shown multiple pastimes and leelas to show that he is not an ordinary person. Who can kill Putna in the lap of his mother? Who can lift Govardhan hill? Who can kill so many demons? So it shows that he is not an ordinary person. He is a supreme master, the master of even the Maya Shakti, Mam Maya, Swa Maya, Maya Dhakshena Prakriti. All these words show the same thing, that he is above all these things. above different modes, above different material energies. Okay, any other comments? Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Done with everybody. Here it says that in his Swarupa, Lord is at all times equal, and we know that. The gunas belong to Prakriti. We know that he is the Purus and Prakriti is working under him. Right? And these gunas of Prakriti do not influence the Lord because he is in Swarupa is equal. This means that though the Prakriti is his Shakti, it does not arise from his Swarupa. Interesting, isn't it? So Prakriti is one, is his Shakti, but is not arising from his Swarupa. He is equal to everybody. Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, let's read the next one. Is someone in a position to read? It's a longer one, so we can split in two parts maybe. Would someone like to read the first half?
Yes, sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna, devotees, stand up to text number 8. Jaya kale tu satvasya devarsin rajaso suran tamaso yaksha rakshamsi tat kala anugno bhajat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish, and when ignorance is prominent, the yakshas and rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of Sattvaguna, Rajaguna and Tamaguna. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. The conditioned soul is under the influence of various modes of material nature, and behind material nature is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one's victory and loss under the influence of Sattva, Sattvaguna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna are reactions of these modes, not of the Supreme Lord's partiality. Srila Jiva Goswami in Bhagavata Sundarabha has clearly said, Satvadhyayo nasanse yatra cha prakruta guna sasuddha sarvasuddhyabhya puman adya parsiddhatu hladini sandini samvet tvaya eka sarva samstitu hlada kapa kari misra tvayina guno varjite. According to the statement of the Bhagavata Sundarbha, the Supreme Lord is always transcendental to the material qualities. He is never affected by the influence of these qualities. These same characteristics is also present in the living being, but because he is conditioned by the material nature, even the pleasure potency of the Lord is manifested in the conditioned soul as troublesome. In the material world, the pleasure enjoyed by the conditioned soul is followed by many painful conditions. For instance, when we see that in the two great wars which we conducted by the Rajoguna and Tamoguna, both parties were actually ruined. The German people declared war against the English to ruin them, but the result was that both parties were ruined. Although the allies were apparently victorious at last on paper, at least on paper, actually neither of them were victorious. Therefore, it should be concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to anyone. Everyone works under the influence of the various modes of material nature, and when various modes are prominent, the demigods or demons appear victorious under the influence of these modes. Everyone enjoys the fruits of this qualities of qualitative activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:13 to 11 to 13. You want me to continue, Prabhuji, or?
Maybe someone else can read.
Okay. You want me to summarize until here, or
Sure.
summarize later?
No, you can do.
Okay. So, Krishna Prabhuji, wonderful verse by Srila Prabhupada. So here we can see that how Srila Prabhupada is making sure that the qualities of goodness and the passion and the ignorance. So, like when the goodness is prevailing, then sadhus, sages, demigods flourish, and when the passion is there, the demons flourish, and when ignorance is there, rakshasas and yakshas flourish. So this is the Supreme Personality of God, though he is not partial to anyone, and in fact all this material nature is under his control. So the material, these sattva, rajo and tamo gunas are the reactions of these modes, and they cannot influence the Supreme Personality of Godhead at all. And also it is mentioned in this Bhagavata Sundarabha where it is clearly states that the Lord is transcendental, and he is, these modes are influenced by the qualities. So in this material world, though we think we are enjoying the pleasure of this material world, but sometimes it is not. And in fact, when we are in goodness also, and when we are even doing like Krishna Krishna consciousness services, sometimes we don't feel the pleasure. That is because of this material nature. This is itself is dukkhala and ashashvata. So even though sometimes we feel that it is too much, that is not because of the Krishna consciousness service itself, but that is because of the material. But in fact, even if we are in this material nature, material world, and if we are doing the Krishna service, it will automatically, gradually purify us, and we'll be in a spiritual consciousness at all time. So that is the reason we can see that pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada or other great acharyas, wherever they are, even if they are in driving in a Rolls-Royce car or in a bullock cart, their nature is pretty much same. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada once said that some devotee, oh, why are you traveling in a Rolls-Royce? Srila Prabhupada says that that's not a problem. This is Krishna's service. So whatever Krishna gives me, even if it is a bullock cart or even if I have to walk, there's even in Bhagavad Gita, matra sparshastha kaunteya sitoshna sukadattara. So for a pure devotee, even if it is a good condition or a bad condition, summer, winter, it doesn't matter at all. So therefore here a supreme, it is concluded that the Supreme Personality is not partial to anyone, and everyone is under the influence of this material nature, and are prominent. That is the reason demigods or demons appears based on these modes of the nature. Please correct me, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, would someone like to read the next half of the purport?
Can I add a point, please, here?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Can I add a point? Thank you. How the three modes of material nature are acting on the living entities, I can tell for myself. Take the example of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, or particularly when we start to chant the holy name, or when we sit down in the Srimad Bhagavatam class. The modes of literature acts in such a way that Srimad Bhagavatam class is going on and we fall asleep. This is like common. Or when we chant the holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, we fall asleep. This is common. So how the three modes of material acting on us, on individually to us in the material world, and that's what is here. It's saying the Srila Prabhupada mentioning about the war. Right now, look at the situation. Virus things is going on, and this is between the two countries are blaming each other, isn't it? I'm not going to go into politics here, but you can hear in the news, everyday news is going on. You can hear one blaming to other blaming to other, isn't it? So this is what is happening in the material world. And India is doing a good thing that, yesterday they clapping, everybody going, that is spiritual, something which is spiritual is done. You see. So the solution is spiritual, not this material solution of this country or that country. And that's what is not realizing because of the mode of passion and ignorance. Mode of passion and ignorance is going on in this world, and because of that, these things are going on. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I would like to read.
Yes, please.
Everyone enjoys the fruits of his qualitative activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.11-13. Sarva dvareshu dehesmin prokasha upajayate jnanam yada tyada vidyat vibradhyam sattvam iti uta lobaha pravritrir arambaha karamanam asamaha spraha Rajasi etani jayanti bhibradhe varatara sabha aprokaso pravritischa pramado moha ivacha tamasi etani jayanti bhibradhe kuru nandana. The manifestations of the modes of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering and intense endeavor develop. O son of Kuru, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart, simply gives the result of the increase in the various qualities, but he is impartial. He supervises victory and loss, but he does not take part in them. The various modes of material nature do not work all at once. The interactions of these modes are exactly like seasonal changes. Sometimes there is an increment of Rajaguna, sometimes of Tamaguna, and sometimes Swattaguna. Generally, the demigods are surcharged with Swattaguna, and therefore when the demons and the demigods fight, the demigods are victorious because of the prominence of their Swattaguna qualities. However, this is not the partiality of the Supreme Lord. So here, this text, as Prabhuji mentioned, about the current situation. So this is first of all coming to my mind that what going on throughout the world. People, most of the people now, they are going through the modes of passion and modes of ignorance. So there are sattva-guna who are mode of goodness, like our gurus and sadhus and all the devotees who are always praying God, like to give bring back the good time and just finish it up. But now the people are in the Kali Yuga, especially according to what I understand in this situation, there are in biology there are two terms, recessive and dominant properties. So in genetics. So now the recessive is the Sattva guna. It's all over in this Kali Yuga. But the Rajaguna and Tamaguna are more flourishing, and this is the result we are getting in the whole world. What's going on? So, but here, of course, the Sattva guna, like devotees, they are always praying, and I'm sure that Supreme Lord will be with the Sattva gunas, and here the demons like this virus, they will definitely will be defeated with the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So back to you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Please correct me if I say anything wrong.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very nice correlation. So these in Kali Yuga, the divine and demoniac are within, and depending upon which mode we are actively working, the result will be corresponding. If we eat innocent animals, kill them for our tongue, then we see the outcome, which is going on. And I'm sure you have seen those pictures that all these viruses, whether HIV or SARS or Ebola or now the Corona, they all originated from not having compassion on the animals. And that's what Bhagavad Gita says. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, text 23, that when we give up the scriptures, ya shastra vidhim utsrijya, when we give up the words of the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, vartate kama karata, and act as per one's own whims and fantasies. That chapter is entitled Divine and Demoniac. So what is the outcome? Na samsiddhim avapnoti, na sukham, na paramgati. There will be no happiness, they won't achieve the true destination, and in short, miserable. And then they say, oh, why is God doing this? Well, God is not doing this. It is our own reaction for the bad karma. Because God is neutral. And He is just awarding, okay, if you want to do the tamoguna activities, then the reaction will be tamoguna also. If we do the activities which are situated in the Shuddha Sattva, for example, chanting, reading, hearing, etc., all the processes of bhakti, they are above the three modes. And the Supreme Lord is very, very happy with that. We have read that so many times when devotees are offering prayer, the Lord is smiling. So many times the Lord says, I am very happy with your prayers. It has come multiple times in the Bhagavatam. So if we do focus primarily on those activities which please the Lord, then the reaction would be corresponding. That means one will be free from the cycle of birth and death. We just read that in text number 5. Such wonderful topics always counteract the material miseries, and one becomes joyful. So that is the goal. And this divine and demoniac are within. This war is going within. Every moment we are working under some modes, but the goal is to transcend these modes from ignorance to passion to goodness, and ultimately transcend to come in Shuddha Sattva. That's what we are all aspiring for. Easier said than done, but if we sincerely try, then Krishna will help us. The mercy of Guru Sadhu Shastra will help us to do so. Anyone else? Any other comments?
Yeah, this is Badra again. Dandvat everybody. It's a nice commentary about this purport here, and I'll just read just few lines. Because it's talking about the increasing of the gunas, sattva guna, rajagun, tamagun. So here it says that since the gunas themselves are insentient, they cannot increase or decrease by themselves. The Lord must enter as their controller, as we know from previous work. When sattva becomes prominent, he favors devatas and sages. As much as sattva becomes prominent, the body suitable for sattva becomes prominent. Entering into their bodies, the Lord increases their strength and restricts the demons and rakshasas. When rajas becomes prominent, he favors the demons. When the tamas becomes prominent, he favors the yakshas and rakshasas. He acts in accordance with the time. The cause of the increase of a guna is time, not the Lord himself. That's why Krishna says, time I am. So it's interesting that ultimately he does according to what the living entity wants. And of course, he's controlling on the top. And that's why the sages and the devatas, they say sattvagun, particularly sages sattvaguns, and it becomes strong. That's what it is. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So I really like this point about that the war between German and the Second World War and the First World War, and it says that the Allies were victorious, at least on the paper, but actually neither of them were victorious. So sometimes all our life we may fight for something, but what's the outcome? It's just something on the paper. Really, real victory is not in these material things. We just read about Indra and Vritrasura. Indra may be victorious on the paper, but what really happens? And it's really nice to have eyes of the scripture to see who is victorious. Even our identity, you're a citizen of this country or that country, it's just a proof on paper. And sometimes people give their life for that nationalism and this ism and that ism. But really, what is our real identity? It's a very important question. And who is really victorious? That is also another important question we need to think about. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Mataji. And this reminds me. Yes, Prabhu.
No, you go ahead, please.
No, I was just thinking of the fight between Indra and Vritrasura. So on paper, Indra was victorious, but who was really victorious was Vritrasura, because he went back to Godhead in Shuddha Sattva. Just that link came to my mind. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, I just want to make two observations. Actually, I just got a call from Bhakti Holiness Bhakti Maharaj. The devotees in Ujjain, they are chanting 24 hours a day for the well-being of the whole world. From this. So that's, what we are talking right now. And maybe most likely we don't know, a lot of the temples in India also they are doing chanting, but at least that one is Maharaj told me. And the second thing is there was a term Prabhupada used, Jobeti Tattva. Tattva is like just looking at that fighting between Hiranyakashipu and Nishingadev, or fighting between Ram and Ravan, and it's an information, tattva. But tattva is different because Lord has the desire to one of his Sharabida Oshujya, that is chivalrous power, and to enjoy that was created. So again, there's Prabhupada mentioning that once we know that tattva, Yobeti tattva, so when you know the thought, so that it was not fighting, it was Lord, because of one of the way of enjoyment. So then it becomes clear that Lord is not doing anything for partiality. So that's my understanding. Krishna, go back to you.
Thank you for sharing that. Any other comments or questions before we pause for today?
By the way, in Mayapur also they did the Nrsimha Yajna for the devotees' well-being in the world. They did that also. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is Raghunath. the two responses given by Sukadeva Goswami so far to the questions of Parikshit Maharaj were really apt. So the first one he says is, the Supreme Lord is the controller of Maya, and he is not coming under the control of Maya, and he is not influenced by the modes. So he is not going to be acting like the normal conditioned souls who are influenced by the material modes. And then the second response he gives to Parikshit Maharaj's question is, the Supreme Lord is present in everyone's heart as Super Soul, and he is the overseer and sanctioner, and he is giving the reactions based on the activities done under the three modes and the interactions of the three modes. So that's why, because of these two reasons, he is not partial. So that's what he has covered so far. So I found that very interesting.
Good point. Thank you.
Okay. So we will pause for today and continue tomorrow with the next set of verses. Grantraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavind ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.